Okay, so this is my task analysis presentation, and I'm doing mine on PowerPoint. I think I just want to so we might have to do it like this. Yes. Okay, so I'll leave it like this and I'll just go through. But mine is on climate. The content standard that I will be using for my task analysis is obtain and combine information to describe climates in different regions of the world. So I'm doing science. So the students' task is students will create a trifold brochure of one region / climate covered in class and conduct research on that region / take their knowledge learned during the week and fill in the trifold with images drawn or printed and prompts filled in with information about that region and its climate. So some of the questions that I will have for them to help guide their thinking when they do their project is, what is a climate? What is the region's climate like? What is that region's elevation, high or low? Is that region by a river, lake, ocean? Is there much sunlight in this region? Is this region hot or cold? So during the lessons, the 5 days of lessons, I will cover these types of questions on the PowerPoint on the day that we do the tactile work, which I will explain further on. So doing the task, I decided to do Miss Frizzle because I feel like she's sciencey and fun. So my task for the students is Mrs. Frizzle from the Magic School Bus is going to take on a bunch of tours around the world to discover the world's different climates. She will take us to 8 different regions: temperate, tropical, mountainous, polar, hot, dry, and the desert. Let's look at pictures, watch videos, feel some sand, water, rocks, ice, dirt, mud, and snow. Then go on some virtual tours of different regions in the world to investigate their climates. Students will create a trifold brochure of one region and conduct research on that region. So just like the task before, students will create the trifold at the very end, but to do the task, they will be with Miss Frizzle and go on tours and feel elements and things like that. So the ELP standards that I chose were construct meaning from oral presentations and literacy and informational text through grade appropriate listening, reading, and viewing. I chose this standard because ELs will watch presentations about different regions and their climate, and they will have to construct meaning from those presentations, whether that is a PowerPoint presentation presented by the teacher, or like in me, I would be the teacher in this case, the interactive online tour of the region, which involves viewing or even researching online for the trifold. This takes listening, reading, and viewing skills. I want my students to be able to listen, view, and read and construct meaning from those 3 skills. The second standard I chose was speak and write about grade-appropriate complex literacy and informational texts and topics. So I chose this standard because ELs will be required to create a trifold with their own research. This project can be done with a partner to enhance the speaking aspect. I want my students to be able to take the information from be able to take informational texts and topics, which in this case in different regions, climates, and be able to write about that topic on their trifold. The third and final ELP standard that I chose was conduct research and evaluate and communicate findings to answer questions or solve problems, which I can move me. There you go. So you can read that. I chose this standard because ELs will have to conduct research for their chosen region's climate and create a trifold on the topic. This takes research skills and be able to evaluate the research and answer the questions to complete the trifold. I want my students to be able to research a topic efficiently and be able to communicate those findings, which in this case would be the trifold. So for background knowledge for ELs, for my lesson planning and unit planning, we will look at maps of around the world with different continents and locations to build background knowledge with those maps. We'll include images to create background knowledge of who, what, where in the climate's lessons. As a class, we will also have 2 sensory activities to build background knowledge. Students will get to feel different elements: rock, ice, water, dirt, sand, mud, etc. Students will also get to look at these regions' climates and virtual tours online on their Chromebooks/classroom laptops. The one thing I really thought about for background was not just even like the week before going through different maps and continents for areas, but also being able to have tactile, because that's good for any student, not even just ELs, but all students can learn a lot by tactile information. But this is also really good for ELs because they are able to feel, also being able to visually see things through the virtual tours. So day 1 of lessons is I can write 2 facts about climate, and I will know the difference between climate and weather. So I will check their understanding by the KWL chart, which is know, wonder, and learn. So they will write things that they already know. things that they wonder and things that they learn. And they will create a 3T chart with the labels know, wonder, and learned. In the know box, I will ask the question, what did you know about climate or weather before starting the lesson? Then I will ask what one question you have about climate for a wonder box, and then I will ask what 2 facts you learned in class about climate for the learned box. Some scaffolding is what is climate video, a crash course video, and then a pre-made chart for the KWL chart for students. I'm also going to be doing a read aloud for this lesson of what is climate, and then we will watch a crash course video all together. Day 2 of lessons, I can define the 8 different climates and be able to sort them into corresponding categories and discuss with my peers these 8 climates. I think it's really important for students to be able to talk with each other, and especially for ELs, they can create schema from their friends by just having casual conversations about the lessons. Some scaffolding will be photos of different climates and boxes with ice, water, rocks, mud, etc. So this is the tactile day. This one doesn't need as much scaffolding because it is so tactile. So I will show a PowerPoint presentation with the 8 types of climate and their defining characteristics and photos. And then after each slide, we will feel what the climate feels like. I will have ice, water, dirt, mud, rocks, sand, fake snow, a blow dryer for wind, anything I can think of that can create that element. Students will have 2 boxes of each desk at each desk with that specific element that they get to touch with their hands, and we will do this after each corresponding slide. Students will play 4 corners after this, and because there are 8 main climates, we will discuss there will be 8 parts of the room labeled with a different climate. I will show a climate on the board, and students will go to that corner. They can work and discuss together to figure out which side of the room they need to go to. Checking for understanding, I will have an exit ticket with pictures of the 8 climates, and 8 climates written out, mixed up, and then they must draw a line, so it's like a matching activity with the corresponding climate. Day 3 is the start of the virtual tour. So day 3 and 4 will be the exact same, just with different climates. We're starting with, I can differentiate what polar, temperate, mountainous, and dry climates are and be able to write my thoughts and findings on a guided research page. So they will do their virtual tours, which are shown, if you can see with my mouse, these are the links to all of the virtual 3D tours the students can navigate through. And we will do this for polar, temperate, mountainous, and dry climates. Student-to-student interaction, students will discuss at their table with a partner what, where, and why that they see in the virtual tours. And then to check for understanding, students will fill out a worksheet with the guided thinking questions to help students think about what they are seeing in the tours in virtual realities. Day 4 is the exact same. We're just doing tropical, hot, cold, and desert. Day 5 is their project day. So I can create and make a trifold of my chosen region's climate. I can draw or print photos of this region's climate and describe that region's climate in writing through research and my learnings from the past week. Students will take any worksheets that they have done over the course of the week and conduct research on their Chromebook to gather information and facts about their assigned climate. They may work alone or with a partner. I think it's good, especially for ELs in this case, to be able to have that option to work with a partner. If I need to see fit, I can create partners and make it a partner activity, but also some students like to work alone, so I wanted to have options. Students will create a trifold brochure of their assigned climate, and they must add photographs either drawn or sent to the teacher to print off and cut out. Students must add fun facts, regions, characteristic photos to their trifold. Students have the option to work with partners or by themselves. If I see that maybe a student is struggling, I might put them with a student that doesn't struggle as much in this field of knowledge, and that can help work with schema, that can work with getting them to understand the assignment better, and maybe feel more comfortable and maybe a little less overwhelmed with the whole project. Checking for understanding, I will check their completed trifold. For scaffolding for this, pre-made templates were a really good idea of mine that I thought would work best, is having the 3 trifolds, and then one page is specifically like boxes for pictures, and in that box, like I can have a heading that says hot, cold, dry, polar, and they have to draw those, so they have some scaffolding, questions on it, like what does this climate feel like, where is this climate located around the world, questions like that are already on there. So they're still creating the trifold, but they have a little bit of scaffolding to help guide them. Any work that they've done in the past week, all of their worksheets will be given back to them after checking for their understanding, and they can use those for their facts, questions, anything they want to add. Any pictures that they've used, they can try and copy, they can trace them, they can print pictures. Pre-made trifold with areas to draw out questions, pre-written to help guide students during the project is the last one written right here. So that's day 5, and those are my 5 days of lessons.